A huge announcement for Rogers this morning, the Rogers Hometown Hockey Tour. With more on that, let's dial into Toronto, where, there you go, the man himself. You know him, you love him. Ron Maclean, a big BT Vancouver welcome for Ron Maclean this morning. I'm the only one up at 5:45 here, Ron. So good morning. Thank you very much for being with us. Tell us, what is the Rogers Hometown Hockey Tour all about?
The yeoman service, Kyle. I look thrilled to announce it. It's every Sunday night, beginning with October the 12th out of London, Ontario. We'll present the New York Rangers hosting the Toronto Maple Leafs. But as you can sense by the sound of the title itself, Rogers Hometown Hockey, it's really a reflection of grassroots celebrating the game. The girl that wants to make the Olympics, the boy to the NHL. It starts in a place like London, so Eric Lindros on that show will be my sort of tour guide, show us his boyhood home, the Argyle Arena where he started to skate, and so on. But I'm really thrilled about the BC presence in this show. We have 25 Sundays. 6 of them will feature the Vancouver Canucks. So they're our trump. No question that the Canucks will be a huge part of the show. And the other fact is we're into British Columbia. We start on November the 19th in Burnaby's, our first BC appearance. We'll also hit Kelowna and later Prince George. But Burnaby, for me, Kyle, is, I mean, it's Joe Sakic, I suppose. It's the Burnaby Winter Club. But my favorite angle on that club is Cliff Ronning. In 1982, he won the Midget Canadian Championship single-handedly. He beat Patrick Roy, scored 2 in a 3-1 win. He was an unbelievable midget. And then in the NHL, one of the great runs, of course, was 94. Vancouver, Cliff Ronning is the one guy the New York Rangers could not deal with. We all remember, you know, Adams scoring big overtime goals, Lyndon's leadership, McLean's goaltending. But Craig McTavish, they had to put McTavish on Cliff Ronning. Sergei Nemchinov of the Rangers couldn't shut him down. Nobody could. So Cliff Ronning, Burnaby, that's going to be a real nice story to tell when we get to Burnaby November the 9th.
November 9th kicking off the BC appearances. Let's talk about the other ones. You're not only going to Burnaby, but you've also got 2 other dates here in BC, a Kelowna date and a Prince George date as well.
And this show is going to feature Tara Sloan of City TV Breakfast Television in Calgary as a co-host. Jennifer Botterill, Alex Despatie out of BT Montreal may join us for more of the Eastern Swing, Kyle. But when we get to Kelowna, Bruce Hamilton, of course, of the Rockets will be kind of my tour guide there. And then into Prince George, I had a couple of dear friends who were connected to the Cougars. Stan Butler, a coach from Wexford. I knew him here in Toronto. And his connection was his first goalie was Chris Mason, who won us a Spengler Cup recently and played in the National Hockey League. And Chris's dad, Paul Mason, hired me into the business at CKRD in Red Deer. So Jody Vance, your colleague, we know the same kinds of some chaperone, somebody in your life that kind of believed in you. That was a guy named Paul Mason who connects to Prince George, which will be in later on in the hockey season.
Ron Maclean, full of the fun facts this morning. We got to also talk about the Vancouver Canucks. We have had, as you know, a huge facelift, especially with the management team here. Trevor Linden on board, especially leading the club now. What are your thoughts as we head into the new season? The Tortorella season, of course, is over. We've got a new chapter beginning next month.
Yeah. Obviously, just love Trevor. You know, it's kind of like what Toronto's doing with Brendan Shanahan, bringing in a local boy who just represents everything you would want in a hockey player, from the character to the skill. Jim Benning, great Western leaguer, and Willie Desjardins coming out of Medicine Hat. So Kelly Rudy's always been trumpeting Willie as a brilliant coach. That's a neat acquisition. A couple of the things I like, you know, I always think of Vancouver, and maybe where John Tortorella era kind of went awry, is they went into maybe more the brawn than the brain. And I always think of the Canucks outfit as it stands now as just a real heady hockey club. Clearly, the Sedins lead the way in that regard, and to give them a guy like Radim Verbata, I think that's really sharp. To bring in Ryan Miller, I know a lot of people, he'll be in the crosshairs, obviously, but I know from my experience in the game, just a really clever, high IQ hockey individual, Ryan Miller, and I think he fits Vancouver. I think this is it's a really good building block to bring in a veteran guy like Ryan with a team that's so full of veteran experience. So I see a really good year, a real good turnaround year for the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, we hope that you're right, and we hope that you've got your Air Miles card dusted off, because you've got lots of traveling ahead of you for the next year. Are you a window seat guy or an aisle seat guy on the plane?
It depends on the night before. If it had been a rough night, then I'm a window seat guy, so I can, and if not, then the aisle's probably the easier one.
Way to go. All right, Ron Maclean, I can't even tell you how much of a pleasure it is this morning. This moment right now is probably the proudest day of my father's life. So, Ron Maclean joining us live from Toronto.
I know the feeling. For me, For me, it was Peter Mansbridge. When I got on the National, that's when my mom and dad were happy.
There you go. You've made Bruce
Cheers, Kyle.
Donaldson very happy this morning. Ron Maclean live in Toronto this morning. Thanks for being with us. Again, to recap, the Rogers Hometown Hockey Tour. It kicks off Sunday, October the 12th in London, Ontario. You can catch it every Sunday on City. And, of course, the NHL season kicks off Wednesday, October the 8th.